Hey guys, it's Tiff and welcome back to my channel. You already know what today's video is, so I do not need to tell you twice. What is up? Man, oh man, am I excited to share with you guys some of my all-time favorite romance books. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into this because I know you're dying to know what books you need to read. First things first, very classic of me to throw this in here, but we have Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This book is literally so good, as are all of these, but truly when I was reading this, it made me feel all the emotions, okay? It made me laugh, it made me blush, it made me cry. It literally made me feel everything. It transported me back in time to where I literally felt like I was experiencing exactly what she was describing the situation was, but as if it were me and my husband, and it was like such a beautiful and fun journey going through and reading this book. If you don't know what it's basically about Macy and Elliot. Macy had a second home that her father bought for her as a little escape for when they needed to get away, and it was next door to Elliot's house. And so growing up, they kind of became close, kind of started to fall in love, and then something happens to where they literally stopped talking for 11 straight years, and then 11 years later they run into each other and they start being in each other's lives again, become friends again, and everything from there just kind of blossoms. Such a beautiful story. It is truly such a good book. I absolutely 10 out of 10 recommend this. I gave this book a 5-star. I would highly recommend. Moving on, I actually just finished this book and I very much enjoyed it, and that is Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was a really fun story, very flirty. It's basically about Olivia and Colin. Colin is Olivia's brother's best friend and also his roommate, and Olivia has a lot of bad luck, and with her latest run of bad luck, she moves in with her brother and his roommate, which just so happens to be Colin, because she has nowhere else to go. And while she's living there, she gets a text from an anonymous number asking, "What are you wearing?" And this anonymous texting relationship turns into the most entertaining and hottest thing in her life. Colin has always looked at her as if she was annoying, bratty, and just his best friend's little sister. Then he finds out that the Miss Style that he has been texting for weeks is Olivia. Does he cut it off? Does he let it continue? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I mean, I know what happens, but you don't know. And let me say, it is a good book. I really enjoyed reading this. I will say it wasn't a 5-star read, but I did give it 4 stars. I thought it was really fun and definitely just a quick read. Literally read it in a day. It was so good. Thoroughly enjoyed. That is that one. And moving along, we have an entire series, which is the Twisted series. We have Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. I literally loved every single one of these books, and I would highly recommend this entire series. It is so good. Oh my god, is it so good. Okay, so let's break down this series, shall we? So starting with Twisted Love, this is the first in the series, and this is the brother's best friend trope. So we have Alex and Ava. Ava is like the sunshine. She's so bright and happy. And then we have Alex, who is like an emotionless robot. But they both have very tragic and traumatic pasts, and they turned out to be these complete polar opposites. This love story is literally so beautiful. I loved seeing these two people who are so polar opposite, but both have very traumatic pasts, kind of learning what happened in their past and then seeing how they come to love each other and all the like trials and tribulations that their relationship goes through. It's a really fun, very emotional, but beautiful love story, and I absolutely loved this. I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thoroughly enjoyed it. That's the first one. Moving on, we have Twisted Games. This was my favorite book of the series. 5 stars, 6 stars, 7 stars. As many stars as I can give this, I'm giving this. I absolutely loved this. So this one is about Bridget and Reese. Bridget is a princess and Reese is her bodyguard. We have that bodyguard romance coming on, kind of like the forbidden love. And oh my god, when I say that this book was so good, I literally mean it with everything in me. I annotated this book literally so much. I annotated the crap out of it because there was so much in this book that I just needed to mark up. I was so invested literally from the start. I personally love reading and watching stuff about princesses and just royal things in general, so this book was absolutely perfect for me because that's literally what it is. And did I mention they literally hated each other to begin with? Like, come on. All these tropes in this make for a perfect book. Like, that recipe is perfect. I could sit here here and say the same thing over and over about this book. It's just that good. And moving on, we have Twisted Hate, which is the third one. This is my second favorite book of the series, but Josh, who is the book boyfriend in this book, is my favorite of the 4 book boyfriends of this series. Oh my god, I loved this book. Going into it, I didn't think I was gonna like it. I didn't think I was gonna like the couple, which is Josh and Jules. And we have best friend's brother. We have that trope again. Josh is Ava's brother and Jules is Ava's best friend. So we have that trope again, but man oh man, it is good. It is so good. Josh is like the sweetest soul. The things he does for Jules in this book is so sweet. He's just like the sweetest of souls, and I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. I gave this book a 5 stars also. It was just so good. Highly recommend. Please read this whole series. Anyways, moving on to the 4th and final one, we have Twisted Lies. This one is about Christian and Stella. They are pretty much strangers. They've only met on a couple of occasions, but they don't really know each other. And he owns the apartment building that she lives in, and he also lives there. So they're constantly, you know, bumping into each other in the elevator or in the lobby or whatever. And this book is fake dating. Now, fake dating is like my favorite trope ever, literally. So you would think that this would be my favorite of the series, but actually this is my least favorite of the series, surprisingly. I just didn't really love their relationship and storyline as much as the other 3. I still loved this book, truly, thoroughly enjoyed this book, but something about it just kind of wasn't my favorite, but I did still thoroughly enjoy it. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, so my lowest rated of the series, but still 4-star read, which is really good. So yeah, I would highly recommend picking up this series and reading it if you haven't already. They're all so good, and again, this whole series just changed the way that I read, changed my perspective on books and everything, and I just loved this series so much. So if you've been wondering if you should read it, this is your sign to read it. Moving on, we have Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. Oh my god, okay? The easiest way for me to explain this book to you is Gossip Girl in a book. So think rich kids, think they can do whatever they want, drugs, drinking, partying, toxic relationships. That is this, except they're in London, not the US. But this book was so good. I was hooked from the start when I read this, and I still think about this book very frequently. I truly still think about this book all the time. I just genuinely loved it so much. This book is about Magnolia and BJ. They have been together ever since they were younger. Currently, they are not together, but it's like they can't get away from each other. They still hang out, they still have sleepovers, but they don't do anything physical. It's just a very toxic relationship. So if that is not your thing, if that kind of thing triggers you, definitely don't read this. But if you love Gossip Girl, you will love this book. It's definitely the book for you if you love Gossip Girl, because it's so similar. It gives off those vibes, and you will absolutely love it. I know I did. It's so good. And if you watch Miss Sarah, you know she loves this whole series. I love this cover also. Like, okay, I think I love basically all these covers, but there's something about this cover, and I don't know, like the spine, just everything about this cover I love literally so much. I gave this book a 5 stars, literally perfection. Definitely one of my top 5 favorite reads of this year so far. Absolutely love it. Please read it. And moving on, we have Rush, which is the first in the Breathless trilogy by Maya Banks. I have yet to read the rest of the trilogy, but I'm hoping to soon. But I really enjoyed this book. This book is the brother's best friend trope, and this is also literally the smuttiest book I have ever read. Holy moly. I was not expecting what I read in this book to read it. Like, I was not expecting it at all. I went into this book knowing what it was about, but not thinking it was going to be as smutty as it was, and holy moly, I was not prepared, and I was shocked, to say the least. I was explaining this book to a friend recently, and they were like, so it's like 50 Shades of Grey. I've never seen 50 Shades of Grey, so I didn't have an answer, but she was like, it sounds exactly like that. So think 50 Shades of Grey, I guess, and that's this. I guess it's similar. I don't know. I've never seen 50 Shades of Grey, so I don't know. But anyways, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really liked it, but again, very smutty. So if that is not your thing, definitely don't go for this one. But if you love smut, this is a good one for you. Moving on, we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Oh my god, I loved this book so much. I read this recently, and this book is literally everything. I cannot stop thinking about this book. I cannot stop thinking about Olive and Adam. I think they are now one of my new favorite book couples ever. I'm obsessed with them. This book was like not what I was expecting. I was expecting this to be like super smutty, but there was one sex scene and that's it. So if you're someone who doesn't prefer a lot of smut, like you're okay with a little, but you'd prefer like little to none, go for this this book. Please, 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 please read this book. It's so good. This book is also fake dating. That's literally the reason I originally bought it, but I ended up reading it for a booktuber's choose my reads for a week video, which if you haven't seen that video, what are you doing? Go watch it. Miss Sarah herself, who was one of the ones who picked the book, watched it and commented on it, so you know it's good. So go watch it. Anyways, moving on. I loved this book so much. It's fake dating. Y'all know fake dating is my favorite trope ever, and their relationship is just so cute and so wholesome, and just all these little encounters that they have, it's so cute. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I gave this a 5 stars. I would give this as many as I possibly could. If you need a book to get you out of a slump, this will do it for you, because this got me out of a slump, and oh my god, it was so good. I love it so much. Please read it. Moving on, this is actually my new favorite book ever, period. And that is By a Thread by Lucy Score. Of course, I gave this a 5 star, 6 star, as many as humanly possible, because I just said it's my new favorite book. This is actually the book that Sarah chose for me to read in that reading vlog, and this book has my entire heart. At the end of this book, I was literally sobbing for like 20 minutes reading the last couple chapters, not because it was sad, but because it was so cute and it just triggered something inside me and I just could not help but cry. I just loved it so much. I love Dominic, I love Allie, I love them together, I love their relationship. This is actually like the biggest book I've read to date, and I loved every single second of this. I used to hate slow burns, and this is a slow burn, but I absolutely loved every single second of it, and I think it made me love slow burns because I got so much of their personal lives and kind of learning about them as a person, but then also starting to learn about them together and seeing them with all these different little interactions and how those little interactions bubbled up and formed an entire relationship. I don't know. This book was done so beautifully, so perfectly. I absolutely loved it. We have the grumpy boss trope. Dominic gets Allie fired from her job, and then Dominic's mom, who is the CEO of the company of a magazine, hires Allie, and now they have to work together. And oh my god, I love it so much. It literally matches my outfit. Can we just take a moment to appreciate that this matches my outfit? Oh my god, I could sit here and talk about this one book for hours. I love it so much. If you are gonna read any book in this video that you haven't read yet, please make it this one, because truly this book has my whole heart. I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. Read it right now. Right now. And moving on, we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a YA, so we have zero spice. So if you are a zero spice kind of girl, pick this one up. Oh my god, this book is just so wholesome, so sweet. I love seeing their relationship blossom, going from enemies to lovers. And also, this book has some fake dating in it, which I didn't know until I started reading it. And oh my god, this book is just done so beautifully. It is such a fun read. It's super quick. I had so much fun reading this. Like, I enjoyed my time reading this so much. I flew through it. I just love the writing in this book. I love the comparisons to TV shows and movies. There's literally a comparison in here to Gilmore Girls, and it literally made my heart so happy, let me tell you. And again, this is definitely in my top 5 favorite books that I've read so far this year. It is so good. It is definitely worth all the hype that Miss Haley fam has given to it, and all the hype that all of her fans, including myself, have given to it. It is worth the hype. It is so good. If you're looking for a light, fun, wholesome read in between books, or that's just what you're feeling, this is the one. This is the one. Please read it. Please read it. It's so good. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. I swear you will not. And moving on, we have a little bit of a sad one, but that is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This book is so good, but it is sad. I cried a lot while reading this book because they both just have such tragic pasts and such traumatic things happen to them, and it's literally heartbreaking, but watching them meet and their love story kind of blossom and everything they go through, it is so beautiful. I love the writing of this book. Bree moves to a small town in Maine, just thinking she'll only be there for a small amount of time because she needed to get away from everything going on at home and get away from her problems. And then she meets Archer and everything turns on its head, and it is never going to right itself again. That sounded so cheesy, but I was just kind of quoting the synopsis. So basically they meet and he doesn't talk to anyone, not a single person, and it kind of intrigues her, and they start to have more interactions. Their love story is just really, really beautiful, and if you're looking for a good sad book, definitely go for this one. If you don't want to cry and you don't want to be sad, I don't think I would read this, but it is still so good. It's so beautiful. But yeah, I gave this book a 5-star. I thoroughly really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend. It is just so good. So cute, so good. Absolutely love. Moving on, this was one of my favorite books of 2022, and that is Something from Tiffanys by Melissa Hill. I feel like I never see anyone talking about this book, but I genuinely loved it so much. There is zero spice in this, and again, if you're that type of girl, here you go. Oh my god. This book is so good. The setting of this for part of it is Christmas, not the whole thing, so it does kind of give off winter vibes, but I would still say it's good to read any time of the year. This book just felt like one of those fairy tales where like every single thing has to go wrong in order for the right thing to happen, and it was so beautiful. Oh my god, I like can't even get over this book still. So this book is about two couples who are both visiting New York City during Christmas time. So we have Ethan and Vanessa, and then Rachel and Gary. Ethan and Gary both end up at Tiffanys buying their girls a gift for Christmas, but something ends up happening while they're in New York, and their lives end up intersecting, and nothing is going to be the same, and only time will tell if true love will prevail. Thoroughly enjoyed. Again, one of my favorite books of 2022. I think it was my second favorite book of 2022, and I loved it so much. No, I did not buy it because it had my name on it. This is not how you spell my name, so that can't be used against me, okay? And the last two books are a little series, and we have The Worst Best Man and The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. The Worst Best Man was the first ever romance book I ever read, and I immediately picked up The Wedding Crasher, which is the second in the series, and read it after, and I can't even describe to you how much I loved these books. The Wedding Crasher was my all-time favorite book of 2022, and up until reading By a Thread, it was still my favorite book to date. This book still has one of my all-time favorite endings. I cannot even describe to you how much I loved this book, but let's start with The Worst Best Man since this one comes first. We have enemies to lovers. We have Lena and Max. Lena was originally supposed to marry Max's older brother, but he stands her up at the altar and says it's Max's fault. And now, years later, they have to work on a work project together, and things just kind of start happening from there. So this book was so good, like so good. I love this book. I want to reread these two books so bad because I loved them so much. Moving on to The Wedding Crasher, again, one of my favorite books ever. The ending of this book is like picture perfect, straight out of a movie type vibes, and I absolutely love it. This book is fake dating, so this is where my love for fake dating came from. It is so good. Basically, we have Salone and Dean. Dean is about to get married, and Salone overhears something and ends up crashing the wedding. And then Dean ends up lying to his boss weeks later that he fell in love with the woman who crashed his wedding, and now he has to convince Salone to fake date him for his job. And she just so happens to need a little help herself, so she agrees, and they start fake dating. And man, oh man, is this book good. I just loved this book so much. This series is so good. This is a series that I am constantly going to recommend. I will recommend these till the day I die, so please pick them up and read them because I love them, and I swear I never see anyone talking about them, and it makes me so sad because of how much I love them. So that is that. That is actually all of the books. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already, because we have a lot of fun over here and we want you to join the fun. With that being said, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.